Well, veteran broadcaster Xolani Gwala has passed on. He died in the early hours of this morning after a long battle with cancer. He was 44. Gwala is a former SABC radio and television personality.
Seems to me part of what people are asking are the practical examples.
Xolani Gwala's battle with cancer was well documented.
It was fever, so I went back and forth to the doctors trying to check what was going on. And the doctors kept saying, it's just a viral infection, the virus is around. Until my wife said, listen, I'm going to take you to hospital now. We went to Morningside, it was a Sunday. And when we got there, they put us in isolation. They were like, temperature is about 40, what's wrong with you? And the following day, then they started doing tests. The whole day, in the evening on Monday, the doctor came to my ward and said, listen, I don't even know where to start. And the reason why I don't know where to start is because you are so young. I was 42 then. But unfortunately, I've got to tell you that you've got cancer. And it's not just cancer, it has spread to other parts of your body as well. So it's advanced. And I don't know the rest because, after somebody has said that, you can see that they're talking, but you can't hear what they're saying because your mind is just gone. Boom. Yeah.
He was soon introduced to one of the country's best oncologists who explained how severe his diagnosis was.
So stage 4 cancer basically means that you've got cancer that's spread beyond the original site. Okay, so if it arises from the colon, for example, as in Xolani's case, and then it spreads to another organ like the liver, then that becomes stage 4 cancer. Okay, and the reason that's important is it speaks to things like prognosis and treatment, and helps us kind of guide the patient in terms of what we can do and what we can offer.
Shortly, Gwala began with the painful treatment.
There was more cancer in my liver than there was liver. So you were treating two things essentially. So we started with the colon, then there was an operation for the colon. And then the liver, they operated it in 2 stages. So I had 3 operations in my tummy. So you can explain, though, why the liver had to be resected twice, the 2 operations in the liver. But then I took about 6 cycles of chemo, which is 12 sessions. And chemo is brutal. Yeah. Chemo is really, really brutal.
Gwala's condition also took a toll on his family.
You have a young family, you have children that just don't understand why dad is in hospital all the time. So with my father, he came to see me, it was after the first surgery, and I was in ICU, and I guess he just couldn't take it. I think 3 weeks later, he had a massive stroke. He's in a wheelchair today. So it's been very tough on the family. It's been tough on my wife. It's been tough on my mother-in-law who had to leave her house and come and live with us. But they've been an amazing support structure. My brothers, my sisters, everyone has really rallied around us and made sure that they give us all the support that we needed.
Good evening and welcome to the news at 8.
Gwala earned the respect of audiences and newsmakers across the continent, both in radio and television. Born in Impendle, a small town outside Pietermaritzburg in KwaZulu-Natal, Gwala began his career on campus radio while doing his public relations diploma, also known as media studies, at the Natal Technikon. Soon after he completed his studies at the Technikon, he began his journalism career as a newsreader on Ukhozi FM, the biggest radio station in the country.
Let's Talk. My name is Xolani Gwala.
He gained popularity as a host of Asikhulume on SABC1. Asikhulume will be selected on several occasions as one of the best talk shows during his time. It was his best articulating and exploring both political issues and current affairs that earned him the love of audiences across the country. Gwala has hosted numerous news and current affairs shows at the public broadcaster. He has also presented the South African version of the International Dragon's Den and recently the Afternoon Drive on 702 Talk Radio. Gwala was married to former Miss South Africa and now investment banker Pekisu Khumalo, and the couple was blessed with a daughter. After the brave fight with colon cancer, the illness has silenced one of South Africa's distinctive voices of the airwaves, Umphephetwa. Xolani Gwala once said that when the cancer was discovered, his battle with the illness made him to appreciate the gift of life.
The one thing that I think I've learned is just to be grateful. I'm grateful for every day that I have, because you just never know what's going to happen tomorrow. Grateful for family, grateful for friends. Don't worry about what happens next. Just be grateful for the now. And I think that's just the most amazing lesson. Just be grateful that you are here in South Africa. Be grateful that you have medical aid. You are able to come here and do the things. Be grateful that you have the doctors that you had. You have the family that you have. The lesson is that be grateful.
Just 44 years old. Well, we are opening the lines for all our viewers who want to pay tribute to Xolani Gwala. He's a broadcast veteran and I guess a doyen of the media industry. Give us a call, 011-714-6841. We have Ruben from Mapani on the line. Ruben, a very good morning to you. What's your thoughts this morning?
Very good morning to you, sir. How are you?
I'm very well. How are you doing?
I'm good, but not. I'm just saddened by the death of Xolani Gwala.
Yeah, what's your thoughts? What would you remember about Xolani?
You must remember Xolani was holding the talk show. It's one of the best talk shows in Africa.
Yeah, that's Columbia.
So yes, he was a very humble individual also, and I'm so saddened by his death.
As is the rest of South Africa. Ruben, thank you very much indeed for your call. Let's go to Bushbuck Ridge now and say hello to Patrick. Patrick, a very good morning to you. What's your thoughts this morning? Patrick, a very good morning to you. What's your thoughts this morning?
Very good morning, sir. Yes, we have lost a very good icon. Yes, a veteran of South Africa. Somebody who was too motivational. I remember one day on Asikhulume, let's talk. One day I was so angry with my spouse. Immediately when I heard him, he said, Asikhulume, let's talk. And then I just said to my spouse, Asikhulume, let's talk. And then she started to smile back. So, and it was almost more than 2 days without talking to each other. Yeah, so to me, I will miss him a lot. He deserves a state funeral.
Yeah. Well, many would agree with you, Patrick. We appreciate your thoughts. Thank you very much indeed. Just a reminder, folks, when you are giving us a call, please switch off your TV because you have this disturbing feedback coming through. Let's go to Polokwane now, and Chimangatso is on the line. What's your thoughts this morning?
Good day, how are you?
Very well.
I'm good. It's very much sad, this story, man.
Yep.
That guy, you can't even believe where he's gone.
He was such a larger-than-life figure in the industry. But, you know, Chimangatso, if you knew him personally, he was so humble. You wouldn't realize that this man is who he is.
Yeah. Even it can show that this cancer issue is very much serious, and everyone should, take it serious because it's killing a lot of people. You see.
It is, and I guess it sparks this conversation, with regards to learning more about this, learning more about the different kinds of cancers, and the advice that you always get from doctors and those that are involved in the space is that early detection is very key.
Yes,
Yeah.
and I think even at high schools, I think the learners should be get a chance where they will be educated about this thing, because it's destroying us, you see.
Yeah, it is indeed. Chimangatso, thank you very much indeed for your call, coming to us live from Polokwane. Philemon, a very good morning to you.
Hello.
What's your thoughts this morning?
Yes.
Yeah, Philemon, you're live on the agenda. Just talk to us about what you miss the most about XG.
Yes, I want to say condolences to Gwala's family.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. We lost a big man in Africa. He was a respected man.
Yeah, indeed he was. Philemon, we appreciate your thoughts. Thank you very much indeed for calling in. We will try to take more of your calls a little later on if we get time. But at the agenda _SABC is where we're at in terms of our tweets. We've got a few coming through. Let's put it up. Let's see what you have to say. King Dalinjebo is coming home, says... Xolani Gwala was the voice behind the After 8 debate on SAFM. He was the face of Askulume Let's Talk. Those were done away by the 90% Sunshine News. He will be sorely missed. Aji says, Xolani was the best news anchor to have ever graced our screens. He made it look so effortless, not forgetting the passion he showed for his craft. We have lost, indeed, a giant. Next one says, he was a vibrant soldier having passion for his work. We have lost, indeed. This one says, rest in peace, my friend. Your voice and your message will remain on the airwaves for eternity. Convoy, condolences to XG's family and colleagues. He was a great talk show host. May his soul rest in eternal peace. I just want to read one more by special request, and it's from Budabupangwa. I hope that appeases Abungile. And he says, wow, death, be not proud. I remember him. Asukulume, let's talk RIP, brother. All right. Please continue to send us your thoughts at the agenda _SABC. Well, earlier, I had a chance to speak to Senate Chairperson Mahlatsi Mahlase on the passing of this veteran journalist, Xolani Gwala. Mahlase says Gwala's role in the South African media will never be forgotten.
It's a really sad day for the Prime Media family, 702 EWN, but as you say, the SABC as well, where his career started. And coincidentally, Xolani and I started working in the Johannesburg office around about the same time when he came from KZN. But it's also a sad day for all of South Africa. Just listening there to Xolani, he truly loved his country. Xolani understood the power of the mic. He understood that being behind that mic, it was an opportunity to hold those in authority to account, but also to allow South Africans to have a conversation, and that him being behind the mic was part and parcel of building on that democracy, especially as we were in the early days, as we were building up on that democracy. And Xolani every single day saw his role in the bigger picture. It wasn't just about him being behind the mic, but it was always around how do we make South Africa better.
Yeah, look, as you mentioned, he really cut his teeth in journalism down in KwaZulu-Natal. I was having a bit of a chat with one of the senior producers, a former senior producer in KZN, Ashok Ramsurup, and he was talking to us about how much light Xolani would bring when he just walks into the room. You know, he was such a good role model for journalists, including myself, who tried to copy his cool, calm, and collected broadcast demeanor.
I call it a very special category. Not everybody has it, because what Xolani was able to do was ask the difficult questions and be very frank about them, but not be rude. And he still had allowed for those that he was interviewing to actually have a say. He allowed for conversations to happen, and that's what was special about Xolani. He also understood, for me as a colleague, he anchored his success around teamwork. He understood that him being there was a representation of the team's effort, but also I think his infectious smile is what we will always miss, and that is what gave us all comfort. And you're right, one of the things that he leaves behind is a legacy of inspiring many young journalists who have come after him. I know that many of my colleagues, from Tulasizo Semilani to Clement Manyatela to Stembile and so many others, mirrored their own careers on Xolani's success, and he was always there to support. He was always there to give words of encouragement. He was always there to also advise. And in our industry, that is so critical, because he always felt that there should be others that are able to follow after him, and that is just one great phenomenon. And I just think that that's the one thing that we will hold on to as we mourn during this difficult time.
Yeah, no doubt he personified humility. He worked also in Ramallah as well as, he was the RAM FM news editor there. Talk to us about some of his achievements in the industry.
Look, there are so many to count. I think that the one that always stands out was how Asikhulume became one of the prime-time current affairs shows on television, bringing together, infused with English and isiZulu, a current affairs show. And that became an appointment for many South Africans. We all sat around on Sunday and waited for Asikhulume as Xolani Gwala would bring newsmaker after newsmaker to ask them those difficult questions that South Africans wanted answers for. And it is that, that pedigree that I talk about that really earned him all of the success. Our recent project was he did an hour-long interview with President Cyril Ramaphosa, where, it was a difficult time for President Cyril Ramaphosa. And I remember Xolani asking him if he was powerless and unable to act against an errant minister, Bathabile Dlamini, and he had that ability to ask a president, are you powerless? And not all broadcasters would be able to put that question to a sitting head of state. His successes are many. I mean, his role on drive time on 702, on breakfast on 702, and also just his role at the SABC, and that ability to have South Africans talking. I think that will be his greatest achievement in his career.
For you, Matlatsi, what would you miss most about him?
He was a perfect human being. He had a really, really beautiful soul. I mean, Xolani had all the fame, but when he walked into a room, he had the ability to brighten it, enlighten it, and then that infectious laugh that he always had that made everybody feel comfortable and feel as important. And then I will also miss just that ability to take very difficult conversations and make sure that South Africans are having them. But I think also what we saw in the last 18 months as he was fighting cancer, his bravery. Xolani was courageous, and I think a lot of the times was even stronger than us who were trying to support him. And every single day there was never a moment where we thought he was weak. He was actually stronger than all of us. And I think that's something that all of us should take leave out of, to say, let's fight our battles right through the end. Let's have that kind of strength that Xolani had. But I think we're also grateful for the family for giving us Xolani, and we are thinking about them at this very difficult time where, it wasn't just a private battle against cancer, but all of us shared in it. And Xolani believed that it was important for him to share his story so that he can inspire others. I just know so many people who called us, saying to us that we are so inspired by Xolani's story. I am also suffering from stage 4 cancer of a sort, and just hearing him has given me courage. Just hearing him has given their families courage, and we thank him, Xolani, for doing that, because that has given us so much hope. But more importantly, I think his role in South African media and contributing to strengthening our democracy, that will never be forgotten.
So various people have paid tribute to the fallen broadcasting legend. Let's take a look.
Moment for South African journalism. Xolani is one of those journalists that if you'd have a conversation with him, you'd find a person who's well-grounded, a person who was unassuming, a consummate professional, and a person who was just for what journalism stands for. And at a point, as this happens, we we're experiencing a new trend of celebrity journalism where people think that the stories are about themselves and that everything that they do is about themselves. It's a sad loss.
We'll remember Xolani for just being a straightforward human being, beyond the journalism, beyond the professional work. He was just one special good guy. Yeah. And it is a loss,
There's sad news coming this morning. I just want to pass my condolences to Gwala and his family. I say may his soul rest in peace.